HarperAudio New Zealand presents No Words for This, written by Alison Mau and read by Alison Mau. For the Survivors. Prologue. In my family, we never talked about the past. Through all the years of raucous compulsory Sunday dinners, there were no retellings of family history and no colourful descriptions of our grandparents or their parents. There were only snippets of insight into our parents' lives before we three sisters were old enough to form our own memories. I've sat with other clans while they reminisce about family celebrations and what an auntie did that one Christmas, and I've done my best to contribute, to feel the warmth of memories plucked from their treasury, held up to the light and cherished. But in those moments I've felt disoriented and out of place. Perhaps my family are not so unusual, though. Perhaps there are plenty of others that have only fleeting impressions of the past. The family photo albums filled with images of us as children in the 1960s, 70s and 80s have helped me piece together some of the fragments over the years. When I was 18 months old and my sister Lisa was 3, our mother took us, alone, back to England for a holiday with her parents. In the mid-60s, there was no jet travel for people of extremely modest means, so we went by sea. For 6 rolling weeks, my mother wrangled 2 toddlers on her own. She dealt with Lisa's freakouts at the toilet water that sloshed almost up to the rim, and she hauled us to the ship's surgeon when, a day out from the first stop in Auckland, we both stopped eating altogether. He advised Mum not to worry too much. Vegemite toast would get us through. In photos from our stay at Mum's parents' home in rural Somerset, Lisa and I are dressed like the young Princess Anne in A-line, buttoned woolen coats and white ankle socks, our hands held firmly by our grandmother Alice. There is a striking dissimilitude between those perfectly dressed little girls and their slightly wild selves in shorts and T-shirts back at home in Melbourne. We stayed for 9 months. On a visit to Melbourne 30 years later, I was sitting with Mum on the faux leather couch in the living room, leafing through her photo albums when I came across those small, square, black and white snaps. An epiphany. Why would a young mother take 2 tiny children on such a voyage on her own and stay such a long time if it was simply a holiday? "Mum," I said, turning to her, "you were leaving him, weren't you?" Her expression was unreadable. She sighed and said, "Oh, Alison," her go-to response when I ask awkward questions. There was a long pause while she searched for the words. "My mother told me I'd made the decision to marry your father, so that was what I was saddled with. She told me I had no choice but to go back." I struggled to understand this. It didn't match the image of Nanny Alice I'd been spoon-fed all of my life, a cuddly, unthreatening Mother Christmas of a woman who loved her daughter above all else. Mum adored her back. She must have been crushed. But then that compliant good girl she'd always been took over, and she quietly accepted the inevitable, with one final card to play. Refusing even to contemplate another sea voyage, she insisted we would only return by plane. The 9 months of the visit elapsed while my father saved the money for our fares. So, not a holiday, but a failed escape attempt. The happy story I'd believed all my life was a family legend with just enough detail changed to protect me from exposure to the truth. I shook my head at myself, astounded I hadn't worked it out earlier. But that's the thing with family law, isn't it? The things you're told when very young become part of your belief system. You don't ever think to challenge them. Then I looked up at her face, without a line, even in her 60s, and so desperately dear. I thought of the powerlessness she must have felt, supplicant in front of her own mother, begging for help. It took my breath away. No, my family never really talked about the past, but it reverberated between us.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?